Welcome to the Planning Quality Framework Customer Survey screencast. This first screencast is to give you some background information before actually using the surveys. There are 8 customer surveys in all. There are the agent and applicant surveys, people that have sent planning applications into the planning department. There are the neighbour surveys. These are for groups or individuals that have commented on a particular planning application. And then there is the reviewer survey. This is an internal review for councils to carry out their own review of how the planning process went. There are also staff, councillor and amenity group survey. The councillor and amenity group surveys are very much part of widening the reach of getting views from the community about how the planning application service is delivered. And there is an organisational survey. Helps us understand how planning departments are structured in terms of their ICT system, headcount, the way that teams are set up, how often committees are run and structured, etc. This really helps when making comparisons between different councils, because the way that councils are structured internally can account for a lot of differences in the way they perform. There are 2 timescales for the customer surveys. The agent, applicant, neighbour and review surveys are all carried out on a regular basis. They're connected to your decision notices, so probably a week or maybe 2 weeks after each decision notice goes out, you would want to send a survey to your agents, applicants, neighbours and carry out an internal review of the decision. The staff, councillors, amenity groups and organisational surveys are annual surveys and will be carried out once a year. The rest of this screencast focuses on the frequent decision surveys. The annual surveys are still under development and we will be issuing a screencast about these surveys shortly. Just a little bit more about how we've defined customers. The applicants are defined as the members of the public that have made a planning application. Agents are the professional people or companies that submit planning application on behalf of others. Neighbours. This is a new survey that has been developed to capture the views of people that are affected by development that haven't directly submitted the application. So those people or organisations that have commented on a planning application. And another new survey, the case review. This is to get the internal customer, the council itself, the head of planning or the case officer, to get their view on how well they think the council carried out its duties in processing this planning application. The customer surveys are based around 4 themes. The first theme is about how helpful were the council in helping the customer through the planning application process. How well did they manage the time taken to get the customer through the planning process? All of the information that planning services ask customers for, how well did they use that information? And then lastly, the clarity of the decision. Was the decision clear? Were there any surprises, etc.? And each of the 4 customer surveys that we just mentioned all base their questions around these themes. These surveys are also all linked to individual planning application numbers, and this allows us for the first time to produce results such as this. This pulls together for an individual application the views of all of the customers of the planning service that have contributed to this planning application, and compares how they felt about how the decision was reached. So instead of just having the view of the applicant or the agent, you have a much more rounded picture of what actually happened during the planning application process. The customer surveys are run on a web-based system called Lime Survey. We set up and create your account and you access it via a username and password. All of the customer details are uploaded from an Excel spreadsheet, and the online system emails customers, records and stores their responses and sends reminders. It also allows you to make reports. The survey comes from the council. It's the council survey. It will have the council's logo on it, and it will include an email address that is from the council for customers to respond to. In terms of confidentiality of the data, all of this customer data is uploaded from your own management system, so it's all data that already exists in your management systems. Planning Advisory Service will use the data, the results, to produce your quarterly and annual reports, But before this is done, all of the personal data such as email addresses and customer addresses are stripped out, so Planning Advisory Service never see or use any of that. Okay, thank you. That's the end of this screencast. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you can email me at martin.hutchins@local.gov.uk, or better still, why not log on to the discussion forum at www.qualityframework.net, where you can discuss the customer surveys with your colleagues. Thanks very much.